Thank you very much. Please, let's take our seats. Asanteni sana. Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, today Kenya and Japan open a new chapter in a friendship built over the decades as we strengthen our strategic partnership through new commitments in financing, investment, and development cooperation reflected in the agreement that has just been signed here this afternoon. On behalf of the people and government of Kenya, I thank the government of Japan, the Japan International Cooperation Agency, and every institution that have turned this promise and commitment from an idea into a reality. Special mention goes to NEXI, who have supported us and mobilized these resources with friends from banks in Japan for us to access these resources, as Japan holds a special place in Kenya's development story. From the Mombasa Port Development Project to the Olkaria Geothermal Program, Japan's partnership has been deep, patient, and transformative. As it has always carried a distinct quality, Japan does not merely build projects, it builds people as well. Through technical cooperation, training, and technology transfer, Japan has strengthened thousands of Kenyan professionals and the institutions they serve. That is the difference between a transaction and a partnership. And that is the partnership Kenya seeks with all our friends everywhere in the world. The Kenya shillings 22.1 billion mobilized through this partnership will help advance three national priorities. First, 13.1 billion will drive our national automotive policy. This is the centerpiece of today's agreement and of our industrial ambition. The details have been laid out ably by CS Lee Kinyanjui on what we intend to do with our automotive industry. Key among those will be to enhance our manufacturing capacity, to build our human capital capacity in terms of training and technology transfer, and to support industry players. And I'm happy that many industry players, manufacturers of different types of automobiles are here. And it is a conversation that we started when I visited our various manufacturers in Kenya. And today I am very happy that my journey to TICAD in 2024 and my subsequent visit to Japan, where this agreement was signed, today, finally, I have been vindicated that it was not a journey in tourism, it was not a journey to explore places, it was a journey in the best interest of the country. I know often many people question why heads of state like myself travel. As the chief promoter of this country, it is part and parcel of my responsibility and duty to present not just the image of the country, but to also to negotiate priority issues that are of importance to both the people, the government, and the partnership that we have built with others across the world. For too long, Africa has imported what it could build and exported the jobs that come with it. We are changing that. We will not simply import finished vehicles. We will assemble them here and progressively manufacture them here in Kenya, by Kenyan workers. This is value addition in its truest form. Every vehicle assembled on Kenyan soil creates Kenyan jobs, builds Kenyan talent, skills, and expertise, and keeps Kenyan value at home. It deepens our manufacturing base, reduces our dependence on imports, and moves us towards a competitive, export-ready automotive sector. Let me illustrate why this matters with an example close here at home. During my recent visit to South Africa earlier this month, we explored ways of boosting trade between our two nations. C.S. Lee was there with me and all the other good people. South Africa sells Kenya close to Kenya shillings 65 billion worth of goods each year, while we sell them barely 6 billion in return. For every single shilling of goods we export to South Africa, we buy 10 shillings for every 1 shilling. But consider what makes up that gap. We send them what we grow: our coffee, our tea, our flowers, our edible oils. And by the way, one of the issues we had to resolve when I was in South Africa was the tariffs that had already been imposed on our agricultural products, including tea and coffee. And I'm very proud that we managed to resolve that issue. And now we can go back to accessing our South African market without the tariffs. Again, that was not a visit in vain. Just for the record. This is precisely why, for them, they send us what they built: motor vehicles, machinery, iron and steel, and finished chemicals. This is precisely why investment in local vehicle assembly matters. When we assemble vehicles here in Kenya and progressively enhance our local content, and finally produce them here in Kenya, we keep the value here at home, and we begin to balance a trade account with our partners around the world that has forever been against us. That is how we close the trade gap, not by buying less, but by building more and adding value of what we produce here in Kenya. That is how an economy becomes competitive. And what is the difference? And that is the difference between a nation that merely consumes and a nation that produces. Early this morning, I was having a conversation with coffee farmers in Kirinyaga, again on the same subject, that now that we have cleaned up the coffee production that was riddled with brokers and middlemen and conmen and all manner of characters, and that today we have a clearer mechanism of our farmers benefiting from what they do in coffee, we increased our participation as government in the agriculture space. We reduced the prices of fertilizer from what was then about 7,000 a 50 kilogram bag to 2,500. I'm very happy that in this year's budget, which I will be signing tomorrow morning, we have added the money that will go into supporting farmers to access farm inputs, fertilizer, seeds, and chemicals by up to 18 billion Kenya shillings. The conversation we were having with the coffee farmers is that now that we are producing more and that we have a target to move our production from 50,000 metric tons, that is today 52,000. In the next 3 years, we want to produce 150,000 metric tons. We want to plant on 100,000 acres in the next 3 years. We have provided 2 billion shillings to buy additional seedlings. Once we have cleaned up that space, today we are seeing earnings of coffee that have moved from an average of 30 or 50 shillings a kilo to today 120 and 150 shillings a kilo. But that's not enough. We need to move earnings for farmers to between 200 and 250. And that will only happen if we do value addition. The same thing we are discussing with this automobile space, that we need to do more with our labor. We need to do more with our value. We need to add value to what we use, what we consume. And that is why this meeting, as has been said, is a very significant meeting. It has not only opened new partnership with our friends in Japan, but it has also is historic because this is the very first time the government of Kenya is accessing the Japanese market with a samurai bond. It has never happened before. Not more than 2 countries in Africa have traveled this journey. And it speaks to our strategy to diversify our sources of funding for the big program we have for the transformation of our nation. For us to move this country to a first world country, which we must in our generation, we have to think outside the box. Traditional sources of financing cannot suffice for us to move this country to the next level. That is why we are combining domestic mobilization of resources with alternative sources of foreign financing and diversification to eliminate risk to our economy. That is a strategy that I committed myself to achieve, and we are making tremendous progress in that direction. With the signing of this samurai facility today, we have opened a new chapter of financing from the Japanese market in a very significant way. Secondly, 5 billion shillings will fund the reduction of energy losses program. Reliable, affordable power is the backbone of every factory and every home. By cutting technical and commercial losses, we lower the cost of energy, steady our grid, and make Kenyan industry more competitive. Cheaper and cleaner power is the foundation of an industrial economy. Number 3, approximately 4 billion will support Kenya's reform and development agenda. This reflects Kenya's confidence and Japan's support in the progress we are making and our commitment to responsible economic management. This will help reinforce essential public services, protect key social investments, and strengthen the institutions that underpin sustainable growth. Together, these 3 priorities carry a single message: Japan's trust in Kenya's direction and Kenya's commitment to manage every cent with discipline, transparency, and accountability. The Deputy Ambassador here has spoken to my message at the State of the Nation address. I'm very happy that you are listening. And I'm also very happy that you agree that the 3 most significant things that Kenya needs to do now is, number 1, to improve our transport and logistics. Number 2, to improve our energy generation, distribution, and access. And number 3, to make sure that we undertake irrigation, water harvesting, water storage, and to build a bigger ecosystem to support our food security and our export strategy. That is also tied to 3 other issues that are significant to us, and that is the security of our state by making sure that we have all it takes to secure what we have. Number 2, to develop the highest human capital that will power our transformation, and also to make sure that we have a country that believes in itself. We have citizens that believe in their country as we believe in God. So these 3 strategic positions that we have taken and 3 enablers are what is going to inform our journey into the future. I know you have mentioned that Kenya might have more tarmac roads than Japan. That's going to take a while. I mean, in the last 60 years, Japan has done 1 million kilometers. We have 20,000. So mnaona huyu jamaa anatu enjoy. From the look of by the time we move from 20,000 to 1 million, we will have grown gray hair. But at the very least, I have undertaken that in the next 7 years, we must build another 28,000 kilometers of tarmac road in Kenya. And it is not an easy target, but I know it is doable if we sit down and we agree, diversify our funding and resources and access to external resources like what we are doing with the Samurai Bond, create more a safer environment for ourselves to undertake greater economic activity, mobilize domestic resources to the extent that is possible, and we are well on course on that. I've just come from discussing a meeting on productivity, and part of the productivity we were discussing with our public service is how we are going to move our revenue as a percentage of GDP from 14.5% now to 25% in the next 5 to 10 years. So, Mbadi, you have a target on what to do. It's going to be a long shot, but I know you and your team at the Treasury have what it takes, and the whole of government approach is going to give us the opportunity to do that. Let me place this partnership between Kenya and Japan in proper context. Through mutually beneficial cooperation, we are diversifying our sources of finance, choosing cost-effective resources, and standing with nations that engage us as equals. Japan brings capital, technology, and decades of industrial excellence. Kenya brings a young and capable workforce, a growing market, political stability, and a gateway to the wider market in the region. Both nations invest. Both nations benefit. That is the model Kenya and Africa has long deserved, and the model Kenya will continue to champion. To our partners from Japan, I make this commitment: every shilling will be invested efficiently, transparently, and for the tangible benefits of the people of Kenya. We will work hand in hand with all implementing agencies, including industry players who are here, to deliver on time and in full. Kenya is a stable, reliable, and forward-looking partner, and we intend to remain one for Japan. We will expand this cooperation in technology, climate resilience, infrastructure, and industry. And we will measure its success, not by commitments we announce today, but by the opportunities we create, the jobs we generate, and the improvements we deliver in the lives of the people. That is my commitment. That is the commitment of the government of Kenya to our friends from Japan, and above all, to the people of Kenya. I want to thank you very much. I know this function was supposed to be held at a different time, but because it was necessary to have it this time, I know some people were inconvenienced one way or another, but I'm very happy that finally we have signed off this agreement. We are supposed to do this tomorrow, but this is a very good moment for us to do this so that we can continue to move together. Please pass my regards to the Prime Minister of Japan. I was with her at the G7, and I did inform her that we were going to conclude this assignment that we started the last time I was in your great country. So thank you very much. My very best wishes. And now the rubber meets the road. Yeah, tuendelee na kazi. Asante sana.